Having to move from their big and spacious house in Georgia to a small suburban cottage in Upper Michigan was hectic enough as it was for Mason, without Tracy, their family dog, constantly staring at their attic door. He tugged on her collar at 3:30 almost every day when he got home from school, but she just sat there in the hallway, whimpering as if someone were up there, despite his father checking several times just to be on the safe side. She wasn't the kind of dog to bark even in the face of danger. A tiny little Pomeranian with a heart of gold. However, on the night of his brother and father's shared birthday, the entire family, who reluctantly flew out from Georgia, received a shock when Tracy began to bark frantically, something she's never done before. Mason sighed and closed the door leading to the staircase to keep her from interrupting their merriment. As time passed, he'd almost forgotten about her as they played games and sang happy birthday. But then the thought of her came to mind when he dropped food from his second helping, waiting to scold the greedy pup for eating something that could harm her. Mason opened the door and found Tracy curled up at the bottom shaking. As he reached for her, he saw out the corner of his eye the pale, ghostly face of a boy retreating up the ladder. He turned his focus toward the movement and saw the rest of the eerily pale family slowly and silently pulling the ladder into the open door of the attic, just as it closed on its own. Tabitha could hear the doctors as they called her name aloud. Her mother wept for hours. Her father wasn't proud. Truly lost for words she'd been. Her eyes were wide and bare, dry from lack of blinking, screaming in her mind, "She's over there." Back about a week or two, Tabitha played with friends, out on the open dirt roads, hoping summer never ends. Lindsay found a fishing pole, abandoned by the lake. She took it with them to the docks, and there she began to fake. But up she pulled a matted wad, she yanked and tugged it free. Shock rested on their faces, yet only Alex screamed. Lucy gagged, and Stacy fainted. Marshall ran for aid. Josh, too paralyzed to help at all, so in the car remained. Taking most of the mental damage, Tabitha could only murmur as the bloated corpse dragged from the water landed right atop her. Her eyes were gray and milky, skin a pale and deathly blue. Lips were blackened like her fingertips, her dress a whitish hue. The image burned into her brain, but that was not the worst. As if she followed her everywhere, as if Tabitha was cursed. They did all they could for her, handled her with care, until the day she called for help, shouting, "Can't you see she's over there?" It was a regular Saturday night when it happened. This one brief incident still has me shaken up, though. My little brother was home from college, so we decided to watch our annual Japanese horror movie marathon early. I wasn't afraid because I'd watched this particular movie like 1,000,002 times. My brother, on the other hand, hadn't, and thought it would be cheesy since I picked it. Pretty happy it piqued his interest, though, which was rare considering I could never find a movie in the genre he hasn't seen. There were a few parts that made him a bit on edge and caused him to jump out of his skin, which made the onslaught of criticisms he barked totally worth it. Nevertheless, The movie didn't resemble anything that would influence my mind in any way. Well, I took the opportunity during a rather tame part of the movie to embark to the fridge for some refreshments for the third time. 4 months in, and I'm already done being pregnant. 5 more, and I can evict the little guy. Now, before I explain what happened, I just want to express that I'm having a normal pregnancy. Nothing strange has occurred. No medical incident. I'm aware that the pregnant brain can occur at any time during the first trimester on out, but I'm 100% sure that what I saw was real. If you've ever seen the iodine clock reaction, then you'll know exactly what I saw. I stepped into the kitchen, confused to why the water was running by itself in the sink, since me and my brother were both in the living room. And so I went to turn it off, and as soon as I approached, the water turned black. The entire sink filled to the brim and nearly overflowing with the darkest of water I'd ever seen in my life. I stumbled back and knocked over the stack of cups. This prompted my brother to come racing in and check on me. I didn't take my eyes off the sink, and he didn't say a word until I asked, "Do you see it too?" And he replied, "Yeah, I see it too." Then just like that, it was normal again. And slowly, the sink drained itself.